The morning started like any other at the United Terran Defense Command in Seoul. Admiral Kim Dae-ho was drinking his coffee when the emergency alarm began blaring through the entire building. Red lights flashed in the hallways as personnel ran to their stations. Captain Park Ji-woo burst through the Admiral's office door without knocking. His face was pale and his hands were shaking slightly. "Sir, we have a situation. A big one." Kim set down his coffee cup and looked at his trusted aide. In all their years working together, he had never seen Park this worried. "What is it?" "We received a transmission 20 minutes ago. It's from something calling itself the Galactic Council." Park activated the large screen on the wall. "Sir, it's not from Earth." The screen flickered to life, showing a creature that looked nothing like any Earth animal. It had 4 arms, purple skin, and eyes that glowed yellow. When it spoke, the words came through a translator device. "Greetings, primitive species of the third planet. I am High Arbiter Zhelkan of the Galactic Council. Your world has been observed for some time. We know you have recently discovered faster-than-light travel." Kim felt his stomach drop. First contact with aliens, and it didn't sound friendly. The alien continued speaking. "The Council has decided to bring your species into our galactic community. However, your planet must follow our rules. You will give us 70% of all your resources. You will pay taxes to the Council every year. Your military will be disbanded and we will protect you. You have 30 of your days to agree to these terms." The message paused, and the alien's yellow eyes seemed to stare directly at Kim through the screen. "If you refuse these generous terms, your species will be removed from existence. We have done this many times before with species that could not see reason. Our fleet is already moving toward your system. Choose wisely." The screen went black. Kim sat in silence for a long moment. Park waited, knowing his commander needed time to think. Finally, Kim spoke. "How many ships?" "Our deep space sensors picked up the fleet 2 hours ago. Sir, there are over 10,000 vessels. They're massive, much bigger than anything we've ever built." Kim walked to the window and looked out at the city, millions of people going about their normal lives, not knowing that aliens had just given humanity an ultimatum. Who else knows about this? The message was sent to every major government on Earth at the same time. "President Kang is calling an emergency meeting in 2 hours. What do we know about this Galactic Council?" Park pulled out a data pad. "Our xenobiology team has been studying the transmission. Dr. Lee Sumin says the aliens' body language and speech patterns suggest they're used to being obeyed immediately." "She thinks they've done this before many times." Kim nodded. He had worked with Dr. Lee on several projects. "She was brilliant and never wrong about these things." "What's her assessment?" "She says they expect us to surrender without a fight. According to her analysis, every other species they've encountered has given in to their demands immediately." Kim turned away from the window. "Get Dr. Lee up here. I want to talk to her myself." 10 minutes later, Dr. Lee Sumin entered the office. She was a small woman, but her intelligence made her seem much larger. She carried a thick folder of papers. "Admiral, I've been studying everything we can learn from that transmission," she said, sitting down. "These aliens think we're just another weak species that will roll over when threatened." "Are we?" Kim asked directly. Dr. Lee smiled grimly. "Sir, they clearly don't understand humans at all. Look at our history. We've never been good at accepting ultimatums, especially from bullies." She opened her folder and spread out several documents. "I've been comparing their demands to historical conquest patterns on Earth. This isn't negotiation. This is subjugation. They want to turn us into slaves." Park leaned forward. "But they have 10,000 ships. Our entire fleet has maybe 300 vessels, and most of those are patrol craft." "Numbers aren't everything," Dr. Lee said. "I've analyzed their ship formations from our sensor data. They fly in perfect patterns like they're doing a parade. That suggests they've never faced serious resistance." Kim studied the papers she had brought. "Charts showing alien ship movements, psychological profiles, tactical assessments. What are you suggesting, Doctor?" "I'm suggesting that these aliens have gotten used to species that think like them. Logical, civilized species that weigh the odds and make the smart choice to surrender." She looked directly at Kim. "But humans aren't always logical. Sometimes we make the stupid choice and fight anyway." Kim was quiet for several minutes. He thought about his grandfather who had fought in the Korean War. His grandfather never talked much about the war, but he had said one thing that Kim always remembered. "Sometimes you have to fight, even when you know you might lose, because some things are worth fighting for." "Dr. Lee, what do you think will happen if we refuse?" "They'll attack, sir. But I think they'll be expecting us to change our minds at the last minute. Every species they've conquered before probably begged for mercy when they saw the fleet coming. And if we don't beg? Dr. Lee's smile was sharp. Then they're going to learn something new about humans. Kim made his decision. Captain Park, prepare a response transmission. Park activated the communication system. Ready, sir. Kim looked directly into the camera. High Arbiter Zelkon of the Galactic Council. We have received your message and considered your terms carefully. After full discussion among our leadership, humanity has reached a unanimous decision. He paused, thinking of all the humans throughout history who had faced impossible odds and fought anyway. We respectfully decline your generous offer. Earth is not for sale, and humanity will not be anyone's slaves. If you wish to take our world, you're welcome to try. But you'll have to fight for every inch of it. Kim nodded to Park, who transmitted the message immediately. Dr. Lee was grinning now. Admiral, you just did something that's probably never happened before in galactic history. What's that? You told the Galactic Council to go to hell. Kim looked back out the window at the city. In a few days, this peaceful scene might be replaced by war, but at least humanity would face whatever came as free beings, not as slaves. Captain Park, send a message to all Earth Defense Forces. Tell them to prepare for war, and send word to President Kang. Tell her we're going to need to activate the Prometheus Project. Park looked surprised. The Prometheus Project was humanity's most secret defense program. Sir, are you sure? Kim nodded grimly. The aliens are about to learn that humans are full of surprises. High Arbiter Delcon stared at the transmission screen in complete confusion. His forearms moved nervously as he replayed the human message for the 5th time. Around him, other council members from different alien species whispered among themselves. This makes no sense, said Fleet Commander Velthox, his scales changing color with agitation. They have 300 small ships against our 10,000 war vessels. Why would they refuse? Shelkon's translator struggled with some of the human words. What did go to hell mean? The database had no translation for this phrase. Perhaps their primitive brains cannot understand the mathematics of the situation. On the other side of the solar system, a very different conversation was taking place. General Cho Min-ho stood in a hidden command center built deep inside Luna, Earth's moon. The room was filled with screens showing locations all across the solar system. All stations report ready, sir, said his aide, Lieutenant Kim Bo-ra. The Sol defense grid is coming online now. Cho nodded and activated his communication system. This is General Cho to all grid stations. Begin activation sequence immediately. Authorization code. Prometheus Rising. Across the solar system, what the aliens thought were simple mining operations and research stations began to change. Hidden panels opened to reveal massive weapon systems. Fake asteroid mining ships powered up weapons that had been built in secret for 50 years. On Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, engineer Yoon Hana watched as the ice mining facility she managed transformed into a weapons platform. All systems green, she reported. Plasma cannon array online. The aliens are going to get a nasty surprise. Back on Earth, President Kang Mi-young sat in the emergency bunker beneath Seoul. Around her, the leaders of every major nation watched the tactical displays. The alien fleet was still 2 days away from Earth. General Cho, what's our real strength? She asked. Cho's face appeared on the main screen. Madam President, we have been preparing for this day since we first detected alien technology 60 years ago. The crashed ship in Siberia gave us our first clues. We've been reverse engineering their systems and building our own versions ever since. How many ships do we actually have? Asked the Japanese Prime Minister. Colonel Oh Sung-jin stepped forward. He commanded humanity's secret space fleet. Sir, we have 800 combat vessels. They're not as big as the alien ships, but they're faster and more advanced than anything the aliens have seen. How is that possible? Asked the British Prime Minister. Colonel O smiled. Because we learned from human history. When someone has bigger guns than you don't try to build bigger guns. You build smarter guns. Dr. Lee Soo-min was also in the bunker, studying the latest intelligence reports. Madam President, we've been monitoring alien communications. They're completely baffled by our response. I don't think any species has ever refused their ultimatum before. What are they saying? They keep trying to find logical reasons for our refusal. Some think we didn't understand the message. Others believe we're bluffing and will surrender when their fleet arrives. President Kang looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leaders. Are we making a mistake? Maybe we should try to negotiate. General Cho's voice was firm. Madam President, we analyzed their demands. They want 70% of our resources, complete military surrender, and total political control. That's not a negotiation. That's conquest with paperwork, Dr. Lee nodded. I've studied the psychological profiles of every council species we can identify. They're all former conquerees. Every single one was defeated by the council, and now serves as their enforcers. If we give in now, humanity will become just another slave race. Meanwhile, in deep space, the massive alien fleet continued toward Earth. Fleet Commander Velthox studied the tactical reports with growing concern. His sensors were detecting energy signatures throughout the human solar system that made no sense. Communications Officer, send another message to the human homeworld. Perhaps they need more time to understand their situation. The message was transmitted to Earth within minutes. The same purple alien appeared on screens around the world. Humans of Earth. We have detected unusual energy readings in your system. We believe you may be preparing weapons to resist our arrival. This is foolish beyond measure. Our fleet contains vessels that have conquered 1,000 worlds. Your primitive technology cannot harm us. The alien paused, its yellow eyes seeming to glow brighter. We are willing to show mercy. If you surrender now, we will reduce our resource demands to 60% instead of 70%. This offer expires when our fleet reaches your planet. President Kang looked at Admiral Kim Dae-ho, who had arrived at the bunker an hour earlier. Admiral, what's our response? Kim didn't hesitate. The same as before, Madam President. This time, President Kang herself delivered the message. She stood straight and looked directly into the camera. Fleet Commander Velthox, we appreciate your concern for our welfare. However, our answer remains unchanged. Humanity will not surrender, negotiate, or compromise on our freedom. You should know that we've spent the last 50 years studying your technology and preparing for this day. We may be primitive, but we learn fast. We're looking forward to showing you what we've learned. She paused, then added something that would become famous throughout the galaxy. Come and take it. Aboard the alien flagship, Velthox watched the human response with growing unease. Something about the human female's tone bothered him. She didn't sound afraid. She sounded eager. High Arbiter, I recommend we contact the Council and request additional fleets. These humans are behaving in ways our databases cannot explain. Shelcon dismissed the suggestion with a wave of his forearms. Impossible. 10,000 ships are enough to sterilize their entire planet. No species has ever required more force than this. But deep in his mind, a small doubt was beginning to form. In 3,000 years of galactic conquest, no species had ever responded to the Council's ultimatum with defiance. What if the humans knew something the Council didn't? Back on Earth, final preparations were being made. Captain Park Ji-woo was now commanding his own ship, the Defiant, one of humanity's new stealth frigates. His crew was young but determined. Captain, all systems are ready, reported his weapons officer, Ensign Nam Tae-jun. The plasma torpedoes are armed and ready. Park looked out at the stars, knowing that somewhere out there the largest fleet in galactic history was coming to destroy his home. Good. Make sure everyone understands the plan. We're not trying to win a fair fight. We're trying to survive long enough to show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity. Engineer Yoon Ha-na made final checks on her weapon platform disguised as a mining station. Her crew had spent months preparing for this moment. Ma'am, the gravity well generators are online, reported her chief technician. When those alien ships enter our trap zone, they're going to find out that physics is the same for everyone. As Earth's day cycle ended, humanity prepared for the greatest battle in its history. They were outnumbered 30-1. Their ships were smaller and their weapons untested. By all logical calculations, they should surrender immediately. But humans had never been particularly logical when their freedom was at stake. The massive alien fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel near Neptune. 10,000 ships arranged themselves in perfect formation, just as they had done for countless conquests before. Fleet Commander Velthox stood on the bridge of the flagship, studying the small blue planet in the distance. All ships report ready, Commander, said his aide, a reptilian creature with green scales. Sensors show the human fleet is much smaller than expected. Only 800 vessels, most of them tiny by our standards. Velthox nodded, but something felt wrong. The human ships weren't running. They weren't trying to hide. Instead, they were moving into attack positions. Open a channel to the human homeworld. Give them one final chance to surrender. The transmission reached Admiral Kim Dae-ho aboard the human flagship, Seoul's Revenge. The alien commander appeared on the screen, his expression confident. Humans, this is your last opportunity. Look upon our fleet and understand your situation. Surrender now, and your species will be allowed to live as servants of the Council. Continue this foolish resistance, and every human in existence will be destroyed. Kim looked around his bridge at his crew. Captain Park Ji-woo stood at the tactical station. Dr. Lee Soo-min was at the science console monitoring alien communications. These people had become his family over the years of preparation. Fleet Commander Velthox, Kim said calmly, "We've looked at your fleet. We've counted your ships. We've analyzed your weapons. And we've reached a conclusion." "What conclusion?" the alien asked, clearly expecting a surrender. Kim smiled. "You didn't bring enough ships." He cut the transmission and turned to his crew. "All ships, this is Admiral Kim. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for the right of all species to remain free. Show them what humans do when someone tries to take our home." The battle began immediately, but it didn't start the way the aliens expected. The human ships scattered in all directions, moving faster than the aliens thought possible. Instead of forming battle lines like civilized species, the humans began attacking from every angle at once. Captain Park Ji-woo led a squadron of 12 frigates straight at the alien center formation. As massive alien weapons fired at them, the human ships split apart like a school of fish avoiding a predator. "All ships execute pattern Alpha 7, Park commanded. His ships dove and rolled in ways that made the alien gunners dizzy trying to track them. "Torpedo launch in 3, 2, 1, fire!" Dozens of human plasma torpedoes streaked toward the alien ships. The aliens, expecting primitive weapons, made no effort to dodge. The torpedoes struck home with devastating results. "Direct hits on 3 enemy cruisers," reported Ensign Nam Tae-jun. "Sir, their shields can't handle our new plasma formula." Aboard the alien flagship, confusion reigned. "How are their weapons penetrating our shields?" Velthox demanded. "Unknown, Commander. Their energy output should be insufficient to breach Council technology." What the aliens didn't know was that humanity had been studying captured alien shield technology for decades. Dr. Lee Soo-min had discovered that alien shields had a specific frequency weakness. The human weapons were designed to exploit that exact weakness. But the real surprise was yet to come. Engineer Yoon Ha-na watched from her hidden weapons platform as a group of alien destroyers approached what they thought was a harmless mining station. "Wait for it," she whispered to her crew. "Wait for it." When the alien ships were perfectly positioned, she activated her trap. "Gravity well generators, full power." Space itself seemed to bend around the alien ships. The artificial gravity field caught them like insects in a spider's web. Their engines strained uselessly as they were pulled toward the disguised weapons platform. Plasma cannon array, fire at will, massive beams of superheated energy lanced out from the fake mining station. The trapped alien ships exploded one after another, unable to escape or maneuver. All across the solar system, similar traps were being sprung. What the aliens thought were defenseless civilian installations revealed themselves to be heavily armed fortresses. But the humans weren't finished with their surprises. Commander Bang Kyung-ho led a squadron of ships in what appeared to be a desperate retreat toward Jupiter. The aliens pursued eagerly, thinking they had found easy targets. "Sir, enemy ships are following us into the asteroid field," reported his navigator. "Perfect," Bang replied. "Activate the mines." What the aliens thought was a natural asteroid field was actually filled with camouflaged human mines. Each mine was disguised to look like a dead human ship, complete with fake energy signatures and debris fields. As the alien ships chased the retreating humans deeper into the field, the mines activated. Explosions erupted all around the alien formation. Ships that had survived thousands of battles were destroyed by weapons they never saw coming. The aliens were learning a harsh lesson about human warfare. Humans didn't fight fair. They fought to win. Pilot Shin Bo-ram was flying a small fighter craft when her ship took heavy damage from an alien destroyer. Her engines were failing, her weapons were offline, and her life support was running out. Most pilots would have ejected and hoped for rescue. Instead, Bo-ram aimed her crippled fighter directly at the alien ship's bridge. "This is Fighter 7 to all units. she transmitted calmly. "Tell my family I love them." The aliens on the destroyer bridge watched in horror as the small human ship accelerated toward them. At the last second, Boram ejected from her fighter, but not before locking the controls on a collision course. Her fighter smashed through the destroyer's bridge like a bullet through paper. The massive alien ship spun out of control and crashed into two other vessels. Boram was rescued 20 minutes later by a human patrol ship. She became the first human pilot to destroy an enemy capital ship with a single-seat fighter. This kind of attack horrified the aliens. They couldn't understand why a pilot would deliberately destroy her own ship. To them it seemed wasteful and insane, but to humans it was just another Tuesday. As the battle continued, the aliens began to realize they were facing something completely new. These weren't the civilized, logical species they were used to conquering. These were humans, and humans played by different rules. Fleet Commander Velthox watched his fleet take casualties at an impossible rate. "How many ships have we lost?" "Over 2,000, Commander. And their losses are minimal. Sir, request permission to withdraw and regroup." Velthox couldn't believe what he was hearing. His fleet had never retreated from anything. "Impossible. We outnumbered them 10 to 1. Sir, numbers don't seem to matter to these humans. They're using tactics we've never seen before. Our battle computers can't predict their movements." On the human flagship, Admiral Kim watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. The alien fleet was in chaos, their perfect formations broken by human hit-and-run attacks. "Dr. Lee, what are the aliens saying?" Dr. Lee listened to the intercepted alien communications. "Sir, they're panicking. Their commanders are arguing with each other. Some want to retreat, others want to bring in more ships." Kim nodded. "Captain Park, signal all ships. Prepare for the final phase." This was the moment humanity had been preparing for. The aliens thought they had seen everything humans could do. They were wrong. "All ships, activate the Prometheus weapons. Let's show them what human science can really do." Across the human fleet, weapon systems that bent the laws of physics came online. The real battle was about to begin. News of the battle reached every corner of the galaxy within hours. On the peaceful world of Melody Prime, Ambassador Krexthor watched the live transmissions with his mouth hanging open. His species had surrendered to the Council 300 years ago without firing a single shot. "How are they doing this?" he whispered to his aide. On the screen, human ships were tearing through the mighty Council fleet like wolves hunting sheep. "Sir, the humans destroyed over 2,000 Council ships in the first day of fighting. No species has ever inflicted such losses on a Council armada." Krexthor couldn't look away from the images. He watched a small human fighter ram itself into an alien destroyer and saw the pilot eject at the last second. "They're sacrificing their own ships to destroy the enemy." "I've never seen anything like it." On the other side of the galaxy, on the industrial world of Kethmar, something remarkable was happening. The Kethmari people had been slaves to the Council for over 500 years. Their planet had been stripped of resources, their people forced to work in alien factories. But in the underground tunnels beneath the capital city, resistance leader Thailand was holding a secret meeting. Around her, representatives from a dozen different enslaved species watched the same battle transmissions. "Look at them," Thailand said, pointing at the screen showing human ships attacking the Council fleet. "They're outnumbered 30 to 1, but they're winning. If these humans can fight the Council, so can we." An old Zephyrian male raised his hand. "But Thailand, the humans have advanced weapons. We have nothing but mining tools and factory equipment." Thailand's eyes glowed with determination. "The humans didn't start with advanced weapons. They built them. They prepared. They refused to accept slavery as their fate." She stood up, addressing the entire gathering. "The question is, are we willing to die as free beings or live forever as slaves?" Meanwhile, on the Vextari homeworld, Supreme War Master Zekvon was in a rage that terrified his subordinates. His species ruled the Council through fear and superior technology. No primitive species had ever dared challenge them. "How is this possible?" he roared, his claws scratching deep grooves in the metal table. The humans should have surrendered immediately. "Every species surrenders." His intelligence officer, a nervous creature with too many eyes, cowered before his master. "Sir, we have been studying human history. They appear to have a psychological defect that prevents rational decision-making." "Explain." "Sir, humans have a pattern of fighting against impossible odds rather than accepting logical terms of surrender. Their history is full of battles where they chose death over submission. Zek Vaughn's eyes narrowed. You mean they're insane? Possibly, sir. Or they operate on principles we don't understand. On Earth, President Kang Mi-young was in the deep command bunker, watching the battle reports with a mixture of pride and terror. The human fleet was holding its own, but the cost was enormous. Madam President, said General Cho Min-ho, we've lost 68 ships so far. The aliens have lost over 3,000. What about casualties? Dr. Lee Sumin looked up from her console. Ma'am, our casualty rate is much lower than expected. Most of our pilots are being rescued after their ships are destroyed. The aliens, however, don't seem to have rescue protocols. This was another difference between humans and the Council species. When a human ship was destroyed, other human ships immediately moved to rescue survivors. When an alien ship was lost, the rest of the fleet continued their mission without looking back. President Kang understood the implications. They don't value individual lives the way we do. That's correct, ma'am. To them, ships and crews are just numbers in a tactical calculation. To us, every person matters. Back in space, the battle was entering its second day. Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of Seoul's Revenge, studying the tactical displays. The alien fleet was regrouping, but their perfect formations were broken. Sir, reported Captain Park Ji-woo, the enemy is trying a new approach. They're splitting into smaller groups and attempting to surround us. Kim nodded. They're learning. Good. That means we're teaching them something new. He activated the fleet communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Kim. The enemy is adapting to our tactics. Time to show them lesson number 2. The second phase of the human battle plan involved something the aliens had never encountered: psychological warfare. Commander Bang. Kyung-ho led a group of human ships in what appeared to be a retreat toward Mars. As the aliens pursued, thinking they had found an easy target, the human ships began broadcasting on all frequencies. But they weren't broadcasting tactical information or surrender offers. They were broadcasting human music. The aliens listened in confusion as sounds unlike anything in their databases filled the communication channels. Heavy metal music with lyrics about fighting against oppression and never giving up thundered across space. What is this noise? Demanded an alien captain. His communications officer was baffled. Sir, it appears to be some form of human art. But why are they broadcasting it during battle? What the aliens didn't understand was that the music wasn't random. It was a message. To humans throughout the solar system, the music said, we're still here. We're still fighting. We're not afraid. Engineer Yoon Hana heard the music on her weapons platform and smiled grimly. All right, people. You heard the music. Time to rock and roll. Her platform unleashed a new weapon the aliens had never seen. Temporal displacement missiles. The missiles didn't just explode on impact. They created time distortion fields that aged enemy ships by hundreds of years in seconds. Alien vessels that had fought in 1,000 battles crumbled to dust as time caught up with them all at once. What kind of weapons are these? Screamed Fleet Commander Velthox as he watched his ships disintegrate. His science officer was studying the readings with growing fear. Sir, they're manipulating time itself. This should be impossible with their level of technology. But humans had always been good at making the impossible possible. Pilot Shin Bo-ram, now flying a new fighter after her previous suicide attack, was leading a squadron against a group of alien heavy cruisers. Her tactics were simple and effective. Hit them where they weren't expecting it. All fighters follow me. We're going to thread the needle. She led her squadron directly between the massive alien ships flying through spaces that seemed too small for their fighters. The aliens, trying to track the fast-moving human ships, ended up shooting each other instead of their intended targets. Fox leader to base, Bo-ram reported cheerfully. Enemy ships are shooting themselves. I think they're confused. This was becoming a pattern. The aliens were so focused on their orderly, predictable way of warfare that they couldn't adapt to human chaos. Every time they tried to predict what humans would do next, the humans did something completely different. As the battle continued, something unprecedented began happening across the galaxy. On dozens of worlds where enslaved species watched the transmissions, resistance movements began forming. On Theta 7, a world where the inhabitants had been mining slaves for 2 centuries, workers began sabotaging alien equipment. On the water world of Aquatica, the fish-like natives started attacking Council supply ships. The humans weren't just fighting for Earth anymore. Without knowing it, they had started a galaxy-wide revolution just by refusing to surrender. Dr. Lee Suman was monitoring alien communications when she made a startling discovery. "Admiral Kim, you need to see this." "What is it, Doctor?" "Sir, I've been analyzing Council transmissions from their other territories. There are reports of uprisings on 17 different worlds. The news of our resistance is spreading and other species are starting to fight back." Kim felt a chill run down his spine. "We're not just fighting for humanity anymore. No, sir. We're fighting for the entire galaxy." Supreme War Master Zekvan received the same reports and understood the implications immediately. The humans weren't just defending their world. They were destroying the entire foundation of Council power. For 3,000 years, the Council had ruled through fear. They had convinced every species in the galaxy that resistance was impossible, that surrender was the only logical choice, but now, one small species from a backwater planet was proving that the Council could be beaten. And if the humans could do it, maybe others could too. "Send word to the Council," Zekvan ordered. "We need the Annihilator fleet. This is no longer about conquering one planet. This is about preserving our entire civilization." The real war was about to begin. The Annihilator fleet emerged from hyperspace like a nightmare made real. 50,000 ships, each one larger than anything in the previous Council armada. At the center of the formation was the World Breaker, a ship so massive that it had its own gravity field. Supreme War Master Zekvan stood on the bridge of the World Breaker, his claws extended in anticipation. This fleet had destroyed entire star systems. It had wiped out species that had lasted for millions of years. No force in the galaxy had ever survived an encounter with the Annihilator fleet. "Broadcast on all frequencies," he commanded. "Let the humans see what real power looks like." His message reached Earth within minutes. The image of the Supreme War Master filled screens around the world, his alien features twisted with rage and arrogance. "Humans, you have caused enough trouble. Your resistance has infected other species across the galaxy. 17 worlds are now in rebellion because of your example. This ends now." He gestured to the vast fleet behind him. "This is the Annihilator fleet. It has ended the existence of 200 species. Your primitive weapons cannot touch us. Your clever tactics will not save you. In 1 hour, we will begin the systematic destruction of your entire solar system." The transmission ended, leaving Earth in stunned silence. In the deep command bunker, President Kang Mi-young looked around at her advisors. "Options?" General Cho Min-ho was brutally honest. "Ma'am, this fleet is 5 times larger than the first one. Our losses from the previous battle reduced our effective strength to 600 ships. The mathematics are impossible." Admiral Kim Dae-ho stepped forward. "Madam President, mathematics don't win wars. People do." Dr. Lee Suman was studying the technical data on the new alien fleet. "Sir, I'm detecting energy signatures we've never seen before. These aren't just bigger ships. They're using different technology entirely." "How different?" "Sir, some of these vessels appear to be powered by controlled black holes. Others are generating energy fields that could crack a planet's crust. This isn't a fleet, it's a doomsday weapon." President Kang felt the weight of humanity's survival on her shoulders. "Admiral Kim, do we have any options left?" Kim was quiet for a long moment. Then he smiled, and it was a smile that would have terrified the aliens if they could have seen it. "Madam President, we have one option left. The one we always have, which is? We surprise them." Kim activated the fleet communication system. "All ships, all stations, all personnel. This is Admiral Kim Dae-ho, Supreme Commander of Terran Forces. The enemy has returned with their largest fleet. They believe this will be the end of humanity." His voice carried across the solar system to every human ship, every hidden weapons platform, every secret base. "They are wrong. Today we activate Protocol Omega. Today we show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity with extinction." Chief Scientist Dr. Bae Wan-ho sat in a laboratory buried deep within the moon. For 30 years he had been working on humanity's most secret project, the Prometheus weapon system. Not just advanced human technology, but devices that challenge the fundamental laws of physics. "Dr. Bae," came Admiral Kim's voice over the communication system, "you are authorized to deploy all Prometheus weapons. Full release authority." Dr. Bae felt his hands trembling as he entered his authorization codes. "Understood, Admiral." Activating the Prometheus array. Across the solar system, weapons that had never been tested outside of computer simulations came online. On Titan, Saturn's largest moon, a device that could manipulate gravity itself began charging. Near Venus, a station that could create artificial wormholes prepared for activation. And on Earth itself, the ultimate Prometheus weapon began its startup sequence, a device that could manipulate the fabric of space and time. The Annihilator fleet moved toward Earth in perfect formation, confident in their overwhelming superiority. Supreme War Master Zekvan watched the approach with satisfaction. All ships prepare planetary bombardment weapons. We will start with their moon, then work our way inward. But as the alien fleet crossed the orbit of Saturn, something impossible happened. The space around them began to bend. Engineer Yoon Ha-na, now commanding the secret weapons station on Titan, watched her gravity manipulation device create effects that physics textbooks said were impossible. Gravitational field generators at full power. Let's see how their fancy ships handle a black hole. The artificial singularity appeared directly in the path of the alien fleet. Ships that had survived the destruction of worlds were suddenly caught in gravitational forces that crushed them like tin cans. Evasive maneuvers, screamed alien captains, but there was nowhere to run. The black hole grew larger with each ship it consumed, feeding on their own mass. Supreme War Master Zekvan watched in horror as 50 of his largest ships disappeared into the artificial singularity. What kind of weapon is this? His science officer was studying readings that made no sense. Sir, they've created a controlled gravitational collapse. This should require the power output of an entire star. Then how are these primitives doing it? Captain Park Ji-woo led the first wave of human ships into the chaos surrounding the artificial black hole. While the aliens struggled to escape the gravitational trap, human ships darted between them like deadly fish. All ships, target their command vessels. Let's cut the head off the snake. The human ships used the gravitational distortion to their advantage, slingshotting around the artificial black hole to achieve impossible speeds. Their weapons, designed to exploit the weaknesses Dr. Lee had discovered, tore through alien defenses, but the real surprise was yet to come. Colonel Oh Sung-jin commanded the secret base near Venus that housed humanity's wormhole generator. As the alien fleet tried to regroup after the black hole attack, he activated his weapon, wormhole generator online. Opening portal in 3, 2, 1, now. Space itself tore open like fabric. The wormhole appeared directly behind the alien fleet's main formation, and through it came something the aliens had never seen before. It was the Earth Defense Fleet's reserve squadron. But these weren't the ships the aliens had been fighting. These were vessels built using pure Prometheus technology, powered by contained antimatter, and armed with weapons that could alter reality itself. The lead ship was commanded by Captain Nam Soo-jin, Admiral Kim's former student. Her vessel, the Impossible Dream, materialized from the wormhole like a ghost ship stepping out of hyperspace. "This is Captain Nam to all enemy vessels," she broadcast. "You wanted to see advanced human technology. Congratulations." Her ship fired a single shot that passed through the shields, armor, and hull of an alien dreadnought without leaving a mark. The alien crew had just enough time to wonder what had happened before their entire ship aged 10,000 years in an instant and crumbled to cosmic dust. Supreme War Master. Zekvan realized he was no longer fighting a primitive species. "What are they?" His aide was stammering in terror. "Sir, they're using weapons that manipulate time, space, and gravity itself. Our databases have no record of such technology existing." "Then how do these humans possess it?" Dr. Lee Soo-min, monitoring the battle from Earth, could have answered his question. Humans possessed it because they were willing to do what other species thought was too dangerous. While alien civilizations had theories about manipulating space-time, only humans had been crazy enough to actually try it. The battle became a demonstration of human ingenuity unleashed. Pilot Shin Boram flew a fighter that could phase in and out of normal space, appearing inside alien ships and firing from within their own hulls. Commander Bang Kyung-ho deployed mines that created time loops, trapping enemy vessels in repeating moments of destruction. But the most terrifying human weapon was something the aliens couldn't even detect. Dr. Bae Wan-ho activated the final Prometheus system from his lunar laboratory. The consciousness disruptor was humanity's most controversial weapon, one that had been debated for decades before being approved. It didn't destroy ships or kill crews. It did something far worse from the alien perspective. It gave enemy soldiers the ability to think for themselves. Across the Annihilator fleet, alien crew members suddenly began questioning orders they had followed without thought for centuries. Soldiers who had served the Council their entire lives suddenly wondered why they were fighting to oppress other species. "Sir," reported an alien weapons officer to his captain, "why are we trying to destroy these humans? They haven't attacked our home worlds." The captain stared at his subordinate in shock. In 300 years of service, none of his crew had ever questioned an order, because the Council commands it. But why does the Council want to destroy them? They're just defending their home. For the first time in his life, the alien captain didn't have an answer. Similar conversations were happening throughout the fleet. Soldiers who had been conditioned to follow orders without thinking were suddenly capable of independent thought. Many of them didn't like what they saw. Supreme War Master Zekvon received reports of mutinies breaking out across his fleet. "How is this possible?" "Our crews are genetically conditioned for loyalty, sir," said his science officer, now speaking with a clarity that hadn't been there before. "Maybe the humans have shown us that conditioning isn't the same as choice." Zekvon stared at his aide in horror. The consciousness weapon had affected his own crew.